Today is Wednesday, August 6, 2025. This is the 47 Daily Podcast. My name is Mark Kaye. Big Balls is a hero. President Donald Trump's DOGE employee, who you may remember goes by the name of Big Balls, the 19-year-old with the computer who was given all access to the Treasury Department. He's a hero as he saved a woman. He got brutally attacked while saving a woman from a carjacking in downtown D.C., and President Donald Trump shouted him out yesterday.
By the way, I have to say that somebody from DOGE was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C., and either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
Yeah, more on that coming up in just a minute. But the kid's name is Edward Cortazine. You may remember him. He's the DOGE employee known as Big Balls. And the story goes he was walking through the streets and he saw a woman getting attacked by a group of individuals. And he intervened, which is something not a lot of people would do. Saved her life, a lot of people say. And he got beat up pretty badly in the process. But the Politico reports Edward Cortazine, who played a key role in early days of DOGE, was attacked while trying to stop an apparent carjacking, according to a police report. The 19-year-old man known as Big Balls who still works for the government, was assaulted by approximately 10 juveniles near DuPont Circle about 3 a.m. Sunday, according to a police report obtained by Politico. Police arrested two 15-year-olds as they attempted to flee the scene. A black iPhone 16 was also reported stolen during the incident. President Donald Trump posted a photo on his social media platform showing a shirtless Cortazine with what appeared to be blood spattered on his face, body, and pants. He called for a change in the law so that juveniles who attacked him could be charged as adults. In fact, Donald Trump posted on his Truth Social, "Crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. Local youths and gang members, some only 14, 15, and 16 years old, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, and shooting innocent citizens at the same time knowing they will almost immediately be released. They are not afraid of law enforcement because they know nothing ever happens to them, but it's going to happen now. The law in D.C. must be changed to prosecute these minors as adults and lock them up for a long time, starting at age 14. The most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs. Washington, D.C. must be safe, clean, and beautiful for all Americans, and importantly for the world to see. If D.C. doesn't get its act together and quickly, we will have no choice but to take federal control of the city and run this city how it should be run, and put criminals on notice that they're not going to get away with it anymore. Perhaps it should have been done a long time ago. Then this incredible young man and so many others would not have had to go through the horrors of violent crime. If this continues, I am going to exert my powers and federalize this city. Make America great again." President Donald Trump is not joking around. He loves D.C., he lives in Washington, D.C., and he believes that Washington, D.C. is the crown jewel of the United States of America. It's where all dignitaries come. It's the capital of the world, both economically and powerfully, especially with President Donald Trump in office, and he doesn't want to see it succumb to the criminal element that has been taking over because of the horrendous leadership in Washington, D.C. over the past, forever. He has a great ally in this, too. You may remember that Judge Jeanine Pirro was just confirmed to be the new district court judge for the District of Columbia, and she's ready to go.
Hi, everyone. It's Judge Jeanine. In case you don't know or recognize the background, I'm at the White House. I just met with the president. We talked about crime in the nation's capital. We talked about fighting crime, and the president is very serious about making sure that as the prosecutor here, that we not only fight crime with a vengeance, but make sure that there are consequences. Make sure that we protect the victims and we make the criminals accountable. And that's the mission of the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. Not just in district court, but in all the courts, the superior courts. Our job is to get guns off the street, drugs off the street, take care of those individuals who are threatening, carjacking other people, and make this city safe and clean again. And that's just what we're going to do. And if you don't buy into it, you're going to have to deal with us.
I'm a big fan of Judge Jeanine and President Donald Trump taking control of the District of Columbia. I go there a lot. I spend a lot of time there. And while it's beautiful, and while there are places that are very well kept and very safe, while there are places where you can walk around and not have to worry about anything, there are other places, more and more of them it seems, that are a little dangerous and a little treacherous. And those juvenile gangs, and really all gangs and all criminals, seem to be seeping into those tourist attractions. They seem to be seeping into downtown DC, no longer just exiled to the outskirts. They're getting more and more daring, and they're doing more and more dangerous things closer to our nation's capital, where countless tourists, both local, domestic, and foreign, come to spend their money and enjoy the sights. President Donald Trump, Judge Jeanine Pirro are going to take care of business. And if DC doesn't come in line, they're going to federalize the District of Columbia, something I think would be a welcome change for a lot of people, not just residents of the United States, but residents of DC themselves. President Donald Trump also took some time yesterday to, just check out the roof of the White House.
There's no Trump like construction Trump, Jillian, and he is up on the roof. Building surveyor Trump is the best Trump, I always say. And there he is in his element.
Yeah, President Donald Trump strolled up on the roof, and reporters caught a glimpse of him, and they started shouting questions at him.
Mr. President, what are you doing up there?
Come down and talk to us.
What are you building?
Are you considering more renovations, sir?
Yeah, and then he gives a little shout out to Peter Ducey. He says, "Hello, Peter. You're looking good, Peter." But President Donald Trump was up on the roof. He was walking around. He was surveying the soon-to-be, I guess, under construction new ballroom, the $200 million ballroom that he's putting into the White House. And it looks like he may be looking around the grounds to see what other improvements could be made. Remember, President Donald Trump is a builder. He's been constructing buildings and skyscrapers and all kinds of different golf clubs and I mean, you name it, he's built it. And he's looking around at the White House going, look, if I'm going to leave this place in 4 years, I want to leave my mark, and I want to leave it better than when I found it. He's already put in 2 enormous flagpoles, one on either side of the White House. He's building the ballroom that's going to be used for, decades and decades and decades for dignitaries and for special events and for state dinners and for all of those ceremonies that they've never been able to hold there. And now he's going, all right, what else can we do? As he wanders around the roof in broad daylight. This was all, of course, before he got off the roof and he went to go to the Olympic ceremony where he was signing an executive order to create the Olympic Task Force for 2028. The Olympics in 2028 will be held in Los Angeles, California. And President Donald Trump, not a big fan of the governor of California or the mayor of Los Angeles, wants to make sure that these things run smoothly. So he's created a task force, and he welcomed the Olympic Committee chairman to the White House for this signing.
I also want to welcome the chair of the U.S. Olympic Committee, Gene Sykes. Gene, thank you. Thank you, Gene, very much. And thank him for recently banning men from competing in women's sports. That's a big deal. Thank you very much. It's amazing the way I don't hear any applause for that when everyone feels it. It's a 97, don't worry about it. That's a 97-3. It's not 80-20, it's 97-3. But nobody wants to clap. It's crazy. The United States will not let men steal trophies from women at the 2028 Olympics, so we appreciate the fairness. And
I mean, it's amazing to me how nobody claps for President Donald Trump saying, hey, let's keep men out of women's sports. It's amazing how Donald Trump has to call out the entire crowd. Everybody there, nobody clapped for it, and Donald Trump was none too happy about that. He's like, look, why are you guys clapping for this? It's amazing. Nobody wants to clap for it. What's wrong with you people? But it is exciting, and it's a major step forward for the United States of America, and it's a major boon for President Donald Trump. He's got the World Cup, he's got the Olympics, he's got the 250th anniversary of our country. He's building things. It's really incredible, and he knows how exciting it is, and that's why he wants to make this the best Olympic Games ever.
And thank you all for being here as we take a major step to ensure the United States is fully prepared to welcome the world to Los Angeles for the 2028 Summer Olympic Games. Very exciting day of my life when we got nominated and we ultimately got it. And I didn't think I'd be here for the games in this capacity, but it worked out that way. So I'm very happy about that. I had no idea that was going to happen. When we got it, I said, it's too bad I won't be president then, but we took a very circuitous route, didn't we? In my first term, we were instrumental in helping the city of Los Angeles win the bid to bring the Olympic torch back to American soil. And today I will sign an executive order establishing the White House task force on the 2028 Summer Olympics, mobilizing the entire federal government to ensure the games are safe, seamless, and historically successful. It's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be amazing.
The entire United States government to make sure the games are safe, secure, and totally fair. It's going to be really an incredible Olympic Games. Donald Trump is right. He was one of the key components in securing this for the city of Los Angeles, and now he's back in action, and he will be president. Something I don't think he even believed would be possible when the Olympic Games are here in the United States, and he's going to make gosh darn sure that they are the best Olympic Games ever. He also got a question from Peter Doocy at Fox News, which drew a lot of attention. It was about J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio and whether or not they potentially could be the dream team presidential ticket for 2028. And here's what President Donald Trump said.
You got off the roof all right?
Yeah.
You said this morning that you probably won't be running for a third term. This weekend, Secretary of State Rubio said that he thought J.D. Vance would be a great nominee. You could clear the entire Republican field right now. Do you agree that the heir apparent to MAGA is J.D. Vance?
Well, I think most likely, in all fairness, he's the vice president. I think Marco is also somebody that maybe would get together with J.D. in some form. I also think we have incredible people, some of the people on the stage right here. So it's too early, obviously, to talk about it, but certainly he's doing a great job, and he would be probably favored at this point.
Wow, that's a great boon for J.D. Vance and also Marco Rubio, because Marco Rubio's name was also mentioned in there. J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio could be your dream team ticket for MAGA for the upcoming election in 2028. And that's something that President Donald Trump announced yesterday, right before he signed the executive order for the Olympic Games. It's really incredible to see President Donald Trump putting together a team where there is not one, but multiple people who folks believe could pick up the torch and carry it on and be the heir apparent for MAGA, not just J.D. Vance, but Marco Rubio himself. And putting them together means that we could solidify leadership in the executive branch for decades to come, which would protect President Donald Trump's legacy as well. Speaking of his legacy, he talked about the tariffs and how while tariff revenue is meant to pay down the deficit, there could be an opportunity down the road for tariffs to also be returned to the people in the form of dividends.
You know, one of the questions asked of me this morning is, are you going to make a dividend to the people? And the purpose of what I'm doing is primarily to pay down debt, which will happen in very large quantity. But I think there's also a possibility that we're taking in so much money that we may very well make a dividend to the people of America.
I mean, think about that. If you have a country that takes in so much money, they're able to pay down their debt, they're able to pay down their deficit to a manageable level, that they have so much money, they go, you know what, we should just give some back to the people. And everybody starts getting checks. There are countries that do that. Most of the oil producing countries in the Middle East, or at least a couple of them, the emirate countries, for example, will take their oil revenue, which is billions and billions of dollars. And because the sultans of Dubai and everywhere else are already filthy rich, they just send checks, monthly stipends to the citizens. That's why everybody in Dubai carries a Louis Vuitton bag and drives around in a BMW. It's because the government is paying for it out of the massive oil revenues. And Donald Trump saying, look, we should have revenue coming in as well. And if we do, we're going to pay down our debt because we've been accumulating that for a while. And then maybe we'll give the power back to the people, because this place has been mismanaged and run poorly for so long. Speaking of mismanagement and running it poorly, Tulsi Gabbard was on Fox News with Laura Ingraham, and they were talking about Barack Obama and his entire plot to overthrow the government, and how it's not just something that is conjecture, but there is hardcore proof no matter what the liberal media says.
As you were playing those clips of these people like Morning Joe seemingly befuddled, saying that by no account is any of this true, I would challenge them to see if they've actually read the documents, every single page of the documents that we've released over the last couple of weeks. If not, go to odni.gov, G-O-V. It's all right there for anyone to see. And those who go in and read this will see how President Obama directed that a National Security Council meeting be called to talk about Russia, that the report that came out of that meeting was filled with tasks that were delivered by James Clapper's assistant to John Brennan and to other elements of the intelligence community. John Brennan was the head of the CIA at the time, all saying per the president's direction, per the president's order. And very specifically, they were tasked to create an intelligence assessment that detailed how Moscow tried to influence the election, not if, but how. And this was the beginning of this manufactured intelligence assessment where they knowingly wrote things in this assessment that were false, and they knew they were false. They knew that they were basing it on discredited intelligence or documents like the Steele dossier that was politically motivated and that they knew was false. And this was how they came up with the Russia hoax that was then weaponized and used to try to delegitimize the president, President Trump, and to try to ultimately enact this years-long coup throughout his entire 4 years of his first administration.
And now we know that the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi have approached a judge about issuing a report to a grand jury or putting together a grand jury to look at these documents and see who should be charged, who should be indicted. Is there enough evidence to go after the perpetrators? Perpetrators like Hillary Clinton and John Clapper and James Comey and Loretta Lynch and even Barack Obama himself down the road. In fact, there is such interest in this, and there is such a treasure trove of evidence that they're asking Tulsi Gabbard for even more evidence to be sent over to the DOJ that they can take to the grand jury.
There's a report tonight from the Federalist that the DOJ is actually asking you for more documents in its grand jury probe. Is that true? And what are they asking for now?
That is true, Laura, and I just want to point out how important this is, that Attorney General Pam Bondi, through the Department of Justice, is taking this necessary first step toward accountability, which is essential for the American people to begin to have any kind of trust in the integrity of our democratic republic. I met with the Department of Justice prosecutors today, and yes, they are committed to leaving no stone unturned as they conduct this grand jury investigation and find the truth. Obviously, we've already handed over the documents that we've declassified and released publicly over the last few weeks. They have more questions, and they're going to be really taking a deep dive into this again, looking everywhere to find the truth and conduct this very serious investigation.
And that is something that is coming straight from the mouth of Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence. This is not a drill. This is not a false narrative. This is not propaganda. This is not some kind of feeble attack on Donald Trump's political enemies. This is criminals being brought to justice. This is hard evidence that the DOJ has now in their possession and that they will be using hopefully soon to get some indictments of these individuals from various different administrations who really plotted to overthrow the government and the duly elected president of the United States of America. There's a lot going on today. President Donald Trump has called a press conference for 4:30 with some kind of big surprise announcement. We're not really sure what that is, but we will bring it to you, of course, live as it happens. And at 1 p.m. Eastern, we go live with our second daily podcast, Mark Kaye Saves the Republic. If you want to go and listen to Mark Kaye Saves the Republic or download Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, it's easy to do. Just go to markkaye.com, MarkKaye.com to find out where you can search, listen, watch, and access Mark Kaye Saves the Republic. Download, subscribe, listen, and enjoy.